Greetings, everyone. This is Timothy Owens, a digital apothecary and associate professor of pharmacy practice. So, I saw an interesting post from Ashley and Brooke Barlow on Twitter, and if you don't know about that, I highly suggest you follow them. I think they've done a lot of great work. I remember seeing their posts when they were in pharmacy school, and now they're in residency. And based on my understanding, Brooke Barlow is going to be giving a clinical pearl talk, I think, on anticoagulation reversal, which is a pretty cool topic. So I was gonna do like a whole tweet storm on suggestions and everything else like that. So I'm not that big of like I don't want to type like a huge like 15 comment thing like no. So I'd rather just do a quick video. Any event, I had given five ASHP talks at mid-year, which is what this is focused on. Overall, I've given over 20 national, international talks, and then probably other regional talks and like local talks, and I don't even really. But so there's been a lot that I've gone through for this. But my biggest one was a ASHP national conference. That was my first large talk, and of the five, I've done two with other people, and then three have been by myself, and they've all been 60 minutes long. Um, and the first one, I was really, really, really freaking anxious. Like, by God, I was. And I think I remember sitting there, and I got there a few minutes early, got set up with the moderator, make sure everything works, mic works, blah, 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 make sure all the slides were ready. And I had actually gone to the slide preparation room. I highly recommend that. Just go to your preparation room, make sure everything looks fine beforehand. There's a room for it. You can talk to one of the coordinators that's around in ASHP, and they'll guide you how to do it. And most conferences have those types of things. In any event, after confirming everything was fine, going to the room and watching people come in. And I think one of the most daunting things was when I got to the room, I didn't realize how big they booked it. And watching people coming in, I had didn't expect that many. My first talk was about mobile apps for pharmacists back in like 2013 or 14. And I mean, like, you just start hitting people coming, and I was like, okay, I got, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. I think afterwards it was confirmed, like, oh, under 600 or so. And I was just like, holy crap, this is, I practiced for this, but I never really practiced, like, thinking I would have that big of an audience. So that was daunting right off the first bat. And I was just like, oh, so you have to get over, like, those kind of jitters. And it went well. I remember seeing my reviews scored well and such, and feedback was positive. But there were some notes like looked anxious, looked nervous, paced a lot, and it's a simple like presentation skills. Like don't put your hands in the pocket, don't like go around. My problem is I would start wandering, and then if you don't have a lavalier, which a lot of those rooms don't, just a microphone. If you the minute you wander away, you're not going to be picked up, and then people in the audience won't be able to hear you. And if you go to ASHP, you see like the halls are huge, they're big rooms because they're at the convention centers, and yeah, then you're gonna have complaints about it. So that was something that stood out to me early on is just like getting yourself in the right mindset. So I tended to, for the other ones, I usually listen to music a little bit beforehand. I walk around. I don't go into any sessions. The reason why, me personally, I don't is what I end up doing is I actually then start watching what other people do, and I think to myself, "Oh, I should do that. Oh, I should do that." And the problem is that's like last minute intervention on yourself to like starting to want to copy other people, which I think beforehand, well in advance, is good to have. But doing it at the last minute and watching others, you maybe try to force things that don't come naturally to yourself because you haven't practiced for it or you haven't adapted to it. So that's one thing I've stopped doing. I don't really go to a lot of sessions before I give a big talk just because I find that it often will kind of warp myself personally. The other thing is what I find is I actually like going early to a session, and usually for ASHP, when you're presenting there's large gaps between each session, about 15, 20 minutes, if you look at the timetable. They don't want people running from one to the other because they're big conferences. They know you can't go from this one to in 5 minutes across the entire convention hall. So you will usually have people showing up early. And what I used to like to do is I like to go through and just talk to a few people who will come early, asking, oh, what are you looking to get out of the session? What are you looking to hear? What questions do you have about this? Or what is your already knowledge? And I usually try to talk to a handful of people beforehand, like maybe like five or so. And the reason I do that is two things. One, it actually reemphasizes whether or not the areas I want to emphasize is appropriate, or maybe something seems a little more confusing, or it might open up something else like, oh, this person already thinking about this thing, so maybe we should add on. And the other thing is then I've established some kind of like relationship there, so that in the conference, like maintaining eye contact, I remember where those people were sitting, and then I know how to look at them, and that helps me maintain eye contact throughout the entire conferences, just like staring all over and such. Like I'm zooming on people because I already established that. That's always been like my particular trick to any large presentation, is trying to build that for myself, because to me they're like little anchors throughout the entire presentation that I've secured beforehand. The other stuff that always comes back to is just know your presentation. I used to practice them. I haven't really been practicing as much in these past few years just because they're on similar topics for me. But I would say the big thing is if you already submit your material, just making sure you update on any like new knowledge or guidelines or data that has come out, because those might be questions that are raised to you from the audience. Um, Try to foresee what questions may be asked for yourself so you can be prepared for that. Have some notes. Um, the other thing is, one thing that's actually really annoying, and this can happen because it's caught me several times, is if your presentation has notes in it, such as, if you go like a presenter view, you have like on one screen the slides being shown for the audience see, and then you have your view, which is presenter view, which shows what's upcoming slides and has notes for it. I think there's been twice now I've been at a conference, and I can't remember if one was ASHP, where the notes weren't showing. Um, and you can usually confirm that if you go to the presenter room beforehand or ask questions, but sometimes you'll find it doesn't even pop up. And if you rely on those things, that could really hit you really quick. So I have found like it's not worth just printing out like a whole PDF of like my entire presentation slide by slide and putting notes on. Like it's too much, and I think your audience is going to quickly see like you're constantly looking down, flipping over, flipping over, flipping over. I just, if there's things that I want to mention or emphasize, often what I do is I keep a small little piece of paper and I just jot down really things that I want to emphasize, and I can look at them throughout the presentation. The other thing is timing. Wear a watch. Usually on slides, if there's a presenter view, you'll see a clock and everything, and sometimes they have a small clock for you. I usually, for myself, when I'm presenting, I find the longer the presentation it is actually easier. And the reason why is because I put a lot of my most important information up front, a lot of my supporting information in the middle, and a lot of my filler at the end. And if I go too quick in up front, and then I look at the time and say, "Wow, I blew through that quicker than I thought." I know I can emphasize more of the filler, and then the supporting evidence I have for it, and then filler at the end. Or if I go too long on the most important stuff up front, in the middle I can cut a little bit back further on the supporting, and then the filler I just kind of like gloss over. So that's something that I use when I design slides and when I kind of think about when I'm talking, in order to make sure I deliver everything I need to. When you have a 60-minute presentation and you have like 30 to 45 slides, that's not too bad. But when you have like maybe like a 15, 20-minute presentation, that could get really tough. So you want to make sure that you're kind of like knocking everything like early up front. I would say within the first 5 to 10 minutes, you really want to make sure all your most important points are kind of locked out there, because you may find yourself in a presentation suddenly sidetracked unintentionally. Like you may just, you knew what road you were going down to, and suddenly you diverged off of it. It happens. I think that's why practicing does help, and not winging it if you're not used to like just how you want to navigate and how to pace yourself in front of a large audience, because your nerves will be present. It's just learning how to get over that. Um, some other stuff that has turned out is, again, with the time, is being able to look at time and say, for me, like if again I have 16 minutes, be like, at 15 minutes I should be have finished this. At 30 minutes here, and then 15 minutes I should be almost done, because I want to leave about 10 minutes for Q&A. So those are types of things that will happen. The other thing is, in the rooms, moderators will often use up like cards to tell you about how much time is available. And sometimes you see presenters just blow through that, and you're going to annoy the moderators, and that's actually going to annoy your audience too. So you really want to keep on track with time and be respectful of that. And also, if you're presenting with other people, like in the pearls, you don't want to go through their time. Um, Other things I would say besides the time and presentation itself and like supporting materials is have fun. I don't think this is talked about. I mean, I'm always in the mantra like, there's a my favorite article I ever read is "Let There Be Stoning." It's a short 2 to 3 page paper written by a scientist that went to conferences, and he would just say like, when I just get there and listen to people drone and drone and drone, it's just terrible. And his paper really influenced me because his thought process: you should be also an entertainer. You should have fun. You have an audience that came to listen to you. You are giving them something, and you want them to walk out of the room with something. Um, and I think dressing up in a way that will be memorable for them, telling stories, relating to them, I think is useful. Humor can be give or take. You got to be cautious there because some humor might not go over easily, or it may annoy people, or may be inappropriate. So I would always test that with other people, or at least play it safe to a certain point. I myself rely on a lot of dry humor, and my sarcasm kind of comes across very strongly. And luckily, most of my audiences have enjoyed it, so it's been positive for me. But it's cautious, I would say there, but it's something that you kind of have to learn how to gauge with it. And just be careful in the middle of a presentation going with some weird anecdote, like just say, "Oh yeah, this one time I saw this," and you may say, "Oh, I'm gonna spend maybe a minute just saying that," and then you realize you just told a story for like 5 minutes and just blew off all that time. You're like, "Ooh, I did not mean to do that." So that's the kind of things I would say you really want to actually navigate as well. Those would be my quick tips I would give for anyone that's new to like those presentations at like ASHP. Most of the audience that go to these, um, they're not going to be really students. There may be other residents and there may be other pharmacists because they want CEs or learning opportunities. Because of that, you have to, if you see people leaving halfway, don't take it personally. And if you people see people coming in halfway or towards the end because they want the code, don't take it personally. Um, it's just the way that those conferences run, I would say. Um, and then the other thing is, like I said, have fun. Like you want to look like you're enjoying yourself. I would say, like, um, to me, it's always an honor to get a chance to speak to in front of other people and being invited to do that. So I feel like that's something I want to live up to, and I want to give to the audience and to the people inviting me. So that's something I always have in my back of my head. That's my own personal philosophy at that point. So anyway, this is just some quick tips. I hope it helps you, and especially for Ashley and Brooke. I hope you guys do, and Brooke, I hope you do well, and I hope you have fun and enjoy it. So this is Timothy, I'm the Digital Apothecary. Have a good time.